Hello everyone and welcome to my channel and today's video, which is going to be quite a funky, quite a strong one. We'll spend quite a lot of time on our legs, so we'll work towards a sequence with lots of lunges and warriors in it, so especially quite strong for the legs. We'll get straight into it, starting in a tabletop position. So you can bring your hands just under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then just pausing here for a moment, making sure both hands are rooted onto the mat. You can feel all four corners of the hands pressing down, feeling that foundation through the hands. And then from there, you can close your eyes for this if you want. We're going to drop the belly, lift the gaze as you inhale, coming into a cow pose. And then exhale, round through the spine as you draw your chin towards your chest. And then inhale, pulling through, open up through the chest, drop the belly, and exhale round. And then keep going with this movement in your own rhythm, just bringing a little bit of warmth, a little bit of movement into the spine. Perhaps you feel this in the shoulders, maybe in the lower back and the hips. Just starting gently, easing into it. In your own rhythm, using your own breath. And at the same time, starting to connect with that breath, becoming a little bit more aware of it and more aware of your own body. Good. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, we're going to come back through center, finding a neutral spine. We'll then kick our right leg back behind us. So straighten out through the right leg. Keep pressing both hands firmly onto the mat and find length here. As you exhale, start to bend through the right knee, open through the hip, and draw your right knee towards the right tricep. And then inhale, kick back again, lengthen. And then exhale, big, big circle. Okay. We'll do that once more. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, draw in. We'll kick the right leg back behind us. And now placing the right foot onto the mat, you can turn your left toes to face the left, and we lift up from here, reaching the right arm over, coming into a supported side plank. Good. Keep pressing the left hand down and reach the right fingertips over to gain length in the right side of the body. Take an inhale here. And then with your exhale, we rise all the way up, bringing our weight onto the left knee, and then coming into a side stretch on the other side. So left arm reaching over, right hand can land somewhere on the right leg. Good. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, ground your left hand back down onto the mat. We're going to reach the right arm over and now lift your right toes off the mat as well. Find length here first, from the toes all the way to the fingertips. And then we're going to start to bend the right knee. Can you grab the foot behind you? Good. Once you're there, if you've got a hold of the foot, you can start to kick back into the right hand so you get a nice opening for the front body. Maybe rolling the right shoulder back, perhaps even gazing up. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, release your right hand back onto the mat. Keep the right leg kicking back. And now we'll bring the ball of the right foot onto the mat. So really pressing the ball of the foot down. Press down through both hands. And now engage through the core to lift the left knee off the mat. In towards the chest, hugging it in. Take an inhale. And as we exhale, we kick back into a three-legged dog. Left leg up. Good. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, start to draw your left knee in towards the chest. Step it forward between the hands. Right knee lands down and we reach all the way up. Bringing most of the upper body weight onto the hips so that maybe they start to sink a little bit lower down. Keep pressing down through the left heel. Good. Take an inhale. And then exhale, bring your fingertips down, move the weight back, coming into a half Hanumanasana. Good. Taking a few breaths here, you can kind of wiggle around, maybe find a bit of space in the back of the left leg, bending and straightening the knee out. Keep pulling the shoulders back to find length in the spine. If If there's any kind of side-to-side movement, maybe you want to open the left toes out a little bit, turn them in, see what feels good in that left hamstring. We'll take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, start to rebend the left knee. We'll press both hands down, bring your right toes onto the mat and step into a plank pose. We'll bring the knees down for this first round. You can always also go for a chaturanga if you want. Hands under the shoulders, coming into a cobra. And then back down. We push onto hands and knees, tuck the toes under, and just come into a downward facing dog before we move to the other side. So taking a few breaths here, just finding that really juicy stretch for the back, for the hamstrings, pressing the mat away from you through both hands, keeping the shoulders strong. Good. And then bring your knees back down onto the mat. So we'll move to the other side. From here, kicking your left leg back behind you, find length in the leg, in the spine. Inhale. And then start to open through the hip, bend through the left knee and draw it in towards the left tricep. And then inhale, kick back. And exhale, draw it in, big circle. And kicking the leg back, inhale. Exhale, draw it in towards the tricep. And then final time, kick the leg back. Now place it onto the mat. You can turn towards the right side, so the right toes turn right and the left arm reaches up and over. So you can ground the outside edge of the left foot down onto the mat. Press it there as you reach the left fingertips over to find length in the side body. Good. Inhale here. And then come up through center. Now the left hand lands onto the left leg and right arm can reach all the way over. Good. You can gaze up from underneath the right arm. Good. Inhale. And then bringing your right hand back down onto the mat, we'll lift the left foot up off the mat, left fingertips reaching forward. Take a deep inhale as you lengthen. And then start to bend the left knee, perhaps grabbing the foot. And if you've got it, you can start to kick back, finding that really nice opening for the front body. Good. Take an inhale. And then exhale, release the foot. Bring your left hand back onto the mat and we'll ground the left ball of the foot down. Pressing that ball of the foot down, pressing both hands down and engaging through the core to lift the right knee off the mat and in towards the chest. Good. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, start to kick the right leg back behind you towards a three-legged dog. Good. We'll take one more inhale here. And then start to hug the knee in towards the chest and step it forward between the hands towards the top of the mat. Left knee grounds down and we start to rise up into our Anjaneyasana, our low lunge. You can sink the hips down as much as feels good. Keep pressing the right foot down, reaching up through the fingertips. Final inhale here. And then the hands sweep down. We move our hips back. The right leg starts to straighten out. Okay. And now you can find any movement here that feels good. So maybe you bend and straighten the knee slightly, easing into the hamstrings. Maybe you open the right toes out. Maybe you turn them in. Anything that feels really good. For the hamstring, back of the leg, lower back too. Good. And then from here, we're going to start to rebend the right knee. Bring both hands onto the mat and step into a plank pose. Going through a vinyasa. It could be chaturanga, upward facing dog, or with your knees down, coming into a cobra. Good. Take an inhale in your back bend. And then finally a downward facing dog. Good. Taking a few breaths as you arrive here. Lengthen through the spine, guiding the hip, sitting bones up. Good. And then we're going to lower our knees back onto the mat, arriving back into our tabletop position. We'll move through a similar flow, but building on it, but starting in this very same place. So from your tabletop position, kick your right leg back behind you, and we're going to open into that side plank, now with the right foot lifted straight away. Right arm reaching over, take an inhale, lengthen. And then start to bend the right knee, grabbing the foot, and then kicking into it. So finding that gentle back bend, front body opener. Good. Beautiful. Then we'll release the foot. Bring your right hand down and the right ball of the foot down as well. From here, hugging your left knee in towards the chest. We're going to kick it back into our three-legged dog. You can open through the hip, bend through the knee. Start to find a little bit of a stretch in the left hip flexor, in the front body. Maybe even gazing up from underneath the left arm. And then we're going to hug the left knee closer to the chest. And from here, arriving to a figure 4 downward facing dog. So this means we cross our left ankle over the right knee. And then otherwise you're in a regular downward facing dog, but you've got the ankle crossed over the knee. Once you're there, you can come onto your tiptoes, start to bend the right knee so that you press your upper body, your stomach, your chest closer to that left thigh, so you get a nice opening in the left glute. Good. Take an inhale. And then we start to move forward, now hugging our left knee in towards the chest and step it forward between the hands. Now keeping your right knee, we'll come all the way up into a high lunge, into our crescent lunge. Building that firm foundation through both feet, reach up through the arms and breathe. Good, lengthen here as you inhale. And then start to open up towards the left. Open your right arm forward, your left arm back as you come into a twist here. Can you pull back through your left fingertips? So bringing more of your weight back as you twist, inhale. And then right hand lands onto the mat, left arm stays lifted. So we still stay in our twist, but now we've got our right hand down. Gaze up as you take one inhale here. And now we're going to press the right hand down. We're going to turn onto the side of the left foot. And maybe you start to hug your left knee in towards the chest and step into a wild thing. Now you can turn all the way onto the right foot, pressing it down. Press the ball of the left foot down and push the hips up. Good. Then we'll find our way back to where we came from. So you can either do this in a few steps or hug your left knee in towards the chest and step it towards the top of the mat. We'll now turn our right foot, coming all the way up into a warrior 2. Both arms opening out to the sides. Keep pressing both feet down and bending into the left knee. Good. From here, with your next inhale, reach forward. Right hand slides down the back of the right thigh. Left arm reaches over. Finding length in the left side of the body, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, come back through center. Left elbow lands onto the left knee or the thigh. Right arm over. For our extended side angle. Good. Keep lifting up through the left shoulder to not kind of fall into it. Keep engaging through the core. Good. Take an inhale. As we exhale, we come back through center and now find a Skandasana at the back of the mat. So right knee bends, hands can come to heart center, or you can find support from the mat as well. Maybe the left toes point up. Good. Take an inhale here. And then as we exhale, we rise back up towards the top of the mat and now find a high lunge. So we turn so that the right ball of the foot is on the mat. And then from here, we continue moving forward so that we come into a warrior 3. Good. You can bring your hands to heart center as well, finding that long line from the crown of the head to the heel of the right foot. Good. Inhale. And then start to find your way all the way up. You can reach your arms up as you hug your right knee in towards the chest. And then we start to bend both knees. Now crossing our right ankle over the left knee. Hands can come to heart center as we again find that figure 4 shape through the legs. But this time dropping in towards a chair pose. Good. Hands can stay where they are. Or if you want to come even lower down, you might be able to place them down onto the right shin. Good. Take an inhale. And then we're going to rise up from here. Reach up through the arms, hug your right knee in towards the chest, and then for a moment straighten your right leg out, keeping both legs strong. Take an inhale. And then lower your right foot next to the left one. Take another inhale, lengthen through the arms. And then exhale, fold over the legs. Beautiful. We'll lengthen, lift halfway as you inhale. And then place your hands onto the mat. Step into a plank pose and go through your vinyasa. Upward facing dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Good. Take a full breath in here. Feel the lungs up. And then open the mouth. Sigh the air out. Good. We'll move to the other side. First coming back onto our knees, hands and knees into tabletop position. Well done. So now you know what's coming. We start by kicking our left leg up behind us. Take a deep inhale. And then start to turn onto the right side. The right toes might come off the mat as we reach the left arm over. Lengthen here. And then start to bend the left knee, grabbing the foot and perhaps kicking into the hand. So you get that opening in the front body. Maybe gaze up here. Good. We'll release the foot. Left hand comes onto the mat. We turn so that we can bring our left ball of the foot down onto the mat. Keep pressing down through the hands to hug your right knee in towards the chest. And then from here into a three-legged dog. Good. We're going to bend through the right knee, open through the hip, finding a stretch in the right hip flexor in the front body. Good. And then coming back through center, we'll hug our right knee in towards the chest. You don't need to move far forward, just enough so that you can cross the right ankle over the left knee. Good. So coming into your figure 4 downward facing dog. You can now come onto your tiptoe here. Maybe bend the left knee and press your tummy, your chest closer to the right thigh. Good. Keep pressing the mat away from you. And then come forward, hug your right knee in towards the chest and step it forward between the hands. Good. Pressing down through both feet, we'll rise all the way up into our lunge position. Good. Finding your strong foundation through the feet. Lengthen through the arms. Take an inhale. As we exhale, we start to turn towards the right. Open your right arm back, left arm forward. Pulling at the right fingertips to maybe move your weight a little bit further back. Good. Take a deep inhale here. As we exhale, we bring our left hand down onto the mat, staying in our twist, but now in a lower lunge position. Right arm lifting up. You can gaze up too. Take an inhale. And now press your left hand down. We'll start to transition into that wild thing. So you can hug your right knee in towards the chest first, and then step the right ball of the foot down behind you and start to lift the hips up. Good. Reach the right fingertips over. And then start to find your way back through center. Now it could be one big step. It could be a few small ones, working your way towards the top of the mat. Fingertips forward. We'll now turn our left heel down, coming into our warrior 2. Right knee still pointing towards the top of the mat. Shoulders drop down as we reach the hands towards the top and back of the mat. Good. From here, as you inhale, lean forward, and then exhale, left hand down, right arm over into your reverse warrior. Take an inhale here. And then come back through center. Right elbow onto the knee, left arm over. Keep pressing the outside edge of the left foot down. Find length in the side body. And breathe. Take an inhale. And then come back through center. Now finding a Skandasana at the back of the mat. So the left knee bends, right toes pointing up. Hands can either be as support on the mat or you can bring them to heart center. Good. Take an inhale here. And now knowing where we're going, which is a high lunge, so start to press back up, bend the right knee and turn onto the ball of the left foot. Reach up through the arms. Good. And then from here, we start to lean forward, coming into our warrior three. Good. Left leg long behind you, fingertips forward or at the heart center. Inhale. And then we start to lift up, hugging our left knee in towards the chest. Arms lift up too. Good. Grounding down through the right foot. We're going to start to bend both knees. Now the left ankle lands on top of the right knee. Hands can come to heart center as you sit lower down into this variation of a chair pose. Good. Keep breathing, finding a point of focus for your balance. Good. And then we rise up from here. Hug your knee in towards the chest, reach up through the arms. And then we're going to start to straighten the left leg out, staying strong through both legs. Reach up through the arms. And then release the foot down. Exhale. Take another deep inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, fold over. We lift halfway. Inhale. And then plant your hands down, step into a plank pose, and move through a vinyasa. Upward facing dog or cobra. And finally a downward facing dog. Good. Arriving into a downward facing dog, take a really deep breath in through the nose. And then you can open the mouth. Release the air out. Good. We'll start to slow our practice down from here. So we'll kick our right leg up behind us. Inhale. And as you exhale, hug the knee in towards the chest and bring it down close to the right wrist so that we find our pigeon pose. So first sliding your left leg back. Make sure your hips are comfortable here before folding over so you can lengthen through the spine. Maybe roll the shoulders back. And then as you exhale, come down onto the forearms and find your pigeon pose. You can come down onto the belly as well if you've got the space in your hips. We'll take a few deep breaths here. We did quite a lot with our legs, our glutes, our hips today. So just finding a bit of a stretch, a cool down for them. Maybe with every exhale, you release a little bit lower down, releasing a little bit of engagement from the glute muscles, muscles around the hips. Good. We'll take one final inhale. And then push back onto your hands. We're going to bring our weight onto the right glute and swing the left leg forward. Right foot into the left inner thigh. We'll reach up through the arms, take an inhale, and then exhale, fold over the left leg. Good. So trying to find that length in the lower back by having your sitting bones grounded down, and then you can start to fold over and round through the mid and upper back. Good. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, you can roll the spine back up into a seat. We'll bend the left knee, coming over the ankles and the knees, stepping into a downward facing dog. Good. And then from there, reach your left leg up behind you as you inhale. And then hug the knee in and place it down just behind the left wrist. Right leg can slide down. And first find length here, making sure you're comfortable enough through the hips, through the spine, through the shoulders. And then exhale, you can lower down either onto the forearms or all the way onto the belly. See which feels better for you. And then dropping into your breath. Maybe releasing a little bit deeper into this pose with every exhale. Allowing those exhales to create space. Allow them to release something. Good. Then we're going to start to find our way back up, pushing up onto your hands, bringing your weight onto the left side to swing the right leg forward. Left foot to the right inner thigh. Reach up through the arms and then exhale, fold over the right leg. So same thing here. Try to bring as much length into the lower back as you can. And then fold a little bit deeper, perhaps rounding through the upper back, the mid back, maybe even releasing your head. Good. We'll then roll the spine back up. Now coming over the ankles, bending both knees, coming over the ankles, back into a downward facing dog. Just taking a breath here to stretch. Lengthen the spine, lengthen through the backs of the legs. And then release your knees down. We're going to sit over our heels, keeping the toes tucked under, so coming into a toe stand. Hands can drop onto the thighs. You can roll the shoulders back as we take a few breaths here. This is a big stretch for the toes, for the bottoms of the feet, which we often don't really stretch. So it might feel a bit unfamiliar, but it's a great one for all of us for sure, because we do a lot with that area of our bodies. We walk all the time, but we never really give it a stretch. It might feel uncomfortable. Of course, if it does, if it feels too uncomfortable, you can release back onto the tops of the feet. But if you're fine, stay for a few more breaths. Good. And then from there, you can release the tops of the feet down. Maybe you want to kind of tap them down a few times, see what feels good. And then simply sit over the heels. Taking a big exhale as you land here, roll the shoulders back, and then we'll close the eyes here. As we come to the end of our practice, we'll take a moment here in stillness to just sit. If you prefer cross-legged, feel free to do that. Or you can stay just here, just like this. And truly allowing your body to meet this stillness. Noticing as you notice that you're still. How does it feel in the body? How does it feel for the mind? Do you still feel the effects of that toe stand? Maybe some tingling in the bottoms of the feet, maybe up through the shins. Can you settle here into simply being? For us nowadays, it's increasingly harder, that space to be in. There's so many distractions, so many things to do, see and engage with constantly. They're coming into stillness, maybe feeling bored, feels like too much. It feels like maybe it's a waste of time when there could be so many other things that we could engage with, experience. But then we learn, when we don't pause for a while, that this space is actually the one that we really, really need. It's the one that brings with it so much well-being. It brings with it so much calm. And when we enter this space often enough, it then starts to trickle into the rest of our lives as well, and we start to feel that calm all over, during our other tasks, during our day-to-day lives. Now you can stay here as long as you like, sitting in stillness. Or you can bring your hands to heart center, expressing gratitude for this practice, for this feeling of presence. And finally bowing your head towards your hands. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice. I truly hope you enjoyed it. It was quite a strong, quite a fun one, I'd say, today. If you enjoy practicing with me, please subscribe to my channel. I post a new flow here every Thursday, so I'm here every week. Also, if you're interested in a guide for an intentional morning routine, I've created one for you, and I've attached the link just below in the description box. So you can download it from there if you're interested. I hope I see you here next week as well. Thank you so much.